Hello, everybody. It is the 27th of July, almost the hottest month on record if you listen to modern news anchors and weathercasters, but we won't go there. My name is Bruce. Here's my hands. Here's my friends. And welcome back to Tablebreakers. We are going to discuss the aftermath. This is the discussion we have where after somebody's ran 2 full sessions, we kind of go over it with a fine-tooth comb and ask questions, and we pick the brain of the GM that ran it and get to do stuff. If you are in chat and you want to know something, put your question in chat, and we will pick it and we will grab it and we will run with it. I want you to do that. Anyway, everybody, Baron, if you could help everybody get introduced to each other here. Thank you.
Yeah, starting off, we do have Bruce with his Only Hands account, as he said. We also do have Cigar DM, Shadow, Hi, and last but not least, the gentleman who we're going to be either picking apart or discussing the game that he ran the past 2 weeks. If you haven't seen that, go back on almost all of our channels, except for I think Shadow has got them on there now. Go back to one of our respective channels and you can watch that. So definitely make sure you do that. The first thing I do want to ask, to kind of kick everything off, is to actually Jaide. What was your thought process or your things of plugging in to get the game? I know you had mentioned, I believe it was on the Rando stream, that you put it together in less than 48 hours. How did you get everything plugged in together, and how did you get everything together to bring the game together?
Yeah, so as stated before, I was told about 48 hours before the first episode's stream that it was my turn to run tabletop content or a one-shot for the group. And I'm sitting here panicking, while I'm at work, actually. I got the message while I was at work. And I'm panicking at work, working through my normal day. And I'm like, what the hell am I going to do? Like, I have nothing to work with. I wasn't even thinking about this. So I'm like, wait, stop. I'm overthinking. I've already run a story for Free RPG Day. It's still fresh in my mind. I know the pacing of the story. I know the elements of that one shot. That's easy. I can reskin that to whatever. But reskin it to what? I already ran a sci-fi game for this group the first time. I don't want to run just another sci-fi, especially, following the heels of Shadow. Like, I don't know if I could do sci-fi like that. So I'm like, oh, okay. So, what else do I really enjoy? What else, does my mind like to think about? Well, I like fantasy, but I like steampunk or magipunk fantasy. Well, I'm also a player of Final Fantasy 14, or at least I was subbed up through December. I had to kind of unsub and scale back some of my my expenditure of funds, but that's beside the point. So I'm like, I really enjoyed playing Final Fantasy 14. It is one of my favorite games in recent times, despite the added monthly cost to play it. I find it to be fun and engaging. So I'm like, you know what? How about if I take my love of the Final Fantasy genre, Final Fantasy 14 and Final Fantasy 6, and I put this story that I've already got all the elements to, ram the two together, and into my third favorite thing, TTRPGs, and see what happens. So that got me thinking, okay, I need an evil enemy. Well, I'm going to borrow from 14 again. I'm just going to rebrand or rename the Empire, the Garlean Empire, to the Leland Empire. That's easy. Done. They're invading. Now I need a village name. Wilderness Edge Village. Vilmarksheim. Then I need a grand company name because, I need them to have a reason to be here. Okay, well, that's Bord Kenneker, which for those of you out there who are from the Norwegian countries or Norwegian-speaking countries, that means table breaker. That's right. The Grand Company was named Tablebreaker. So I took all these elements and I'm like, okay, I've got a story, I've got themes. Now I need powers and abilities and classes. Well, I'm just going to reskin kind of what I have and make brand new powers that don't exist in any book, themed after the classes of Final Fantasy 14. And I'm going to draw those randomly with random races as well. So I took all the races of 14 and all of the base classes of 14, and I rolled dice. And that's what I came up with.
Pretty interesting. I
All right.
ask,
So, go ahead, Bruce.
No, I got to ask. When you made it mech-centric, were you expecting the response that you got from us?
So I had mixed feelings about including mechs, and the reason I had mixed feelings was the original story. So the original concept or story that I basically ran or reskinned was called The Fall of Arnor, part of the Planet Killer two-part or two-shot series, and this is actually in Index Card RPG. If you buy the Master Edition of Index Card RPG, you get the Adventures book as a free download, and this adventure is in there as a mech suit or hard suit adventure. The characters are pilots of these armors, and they have to complete a mission, very similar to what I ran. As far as like your response to the mech suits, you took to them very well, but I think that's because of how the mission started. And the mission start, I mirrored it identically to the Index Card RPG start. The players start with nothing. They wake up in a battle. So having your footlockers destroyed, having the armory basically hit hard, was in part by design.
Okay.
Because it tests the players in how resourceful they are with what they have left.
That felt more like not a battle, but more like an ambush.
Yes.
And like battles are like things you prepare for. Like you're going to the line at this point. You know that when you get there, you're going to have your materials there. You've got MREs, you got 2 rolls of toilet paper, you have a few magazine reloads, you have a complete kit in your backpack with an extra day's worth of ammunition to get into another 1,700 round fight. So you're prepped for it. But whenever you wake somebody up with a mortar round and be like, "Ding dong," that's not a battle.
You're right. You're right. It is more of an ambush.
And I mean, I'm not going to bitch too much because you gave us mech suits, but it could have been another D&D game where I ran around with my underwear and a sock over my dick.
Sure. And so I had actually given you guys the option of like I could run this with or without mech suits. I don't really care. If I had run it without the mech suits, you would have started with equipment and armor. But it wouldn't, and you wouldn't have been at a disadvantage at all without the mech suits as compared to with the mech suits. It would have been the same challenges, the same types of challenges, maybe just with fewer mech suits and more like street fighting.
I'm not against that, even as a red mage with no spell book, but I'm just going to say that the way you started us, I was not expecting. And
okay.
The way that it evolved quickly at the end of Act 1, we got our mech suits and off we went. That seemed to be kind of like it reminded me of Fallout 4 a little bit.
Okay.
Fallout 4 starts you off and you kind of are at a disadvantage, but then all of a sudden, like, here comes Santa Claus and you get your Brotherhood of Steel outfit right away. Yeah, remember that vanilla piece of shit? Oh, my bad.
No, you're not wrong.
Well, yeah, I'll shut up now.
All right, well, I think we've already got something that Bruce maybe didn't enjoy.
I never enjoy waking up to mortar rounds, ever.
No, never.
It's not a fun experience.
So So let's start off with something a little bit more on the brighter side. Kai. Let's start with Kai, and we'll kind of work our way backwards. Kai, what were two things that you really enjoyed about this adventure?
I won't lie. I enjoyed the badge check armors, even if I didn't do anything useful in them besides stand there and take hits.
Oh my god, you were so useful.
I was both the right class and the wrong class.
I'm going to name my next Buckler Kai.
What was that?
I'm going to name my next Buckler Kai.
Yeah, obviously. Tower shield. Just stand there and take the hits. But my problem was it's all good now, right now. So, I mean, the positive was I enjoyed using match check armors because it's fun. It gave me an option to do something positive and productive because I'll wait until I got to play a white mage, even though I really didn't do much white magey stuff.
You did some healing and some protection. I
did, but I'm a former white mage of both 11 and 14. I'm used to having a bit more in my toolbox than oh dear God, help me. Because boy, did I not have it. My toolbox was even more bare than starting out as a Final Fantasy 11 white mage, where you can kick out the door and you need to have your hands held to go walk across the street to your first quest because you'll get screwed by gobos. But boy, I felt both useful and useless simultaneously, which is both familiar and sad at the same time.
Okay.
That's
all right.
Is that two good things?
I would say that was. I think that was one. Give me something else. You wet my whistle. Let me get something else.
But okay.
Give me a little more.
I like the idea that we had potential to call in. I'm sure if we had more time, we could have been more able to coordinate with our local, with the rest of the grand company. And I also like the potential that if this was to continue on as a campaign, being left behind by our charge, who couldn't wait another round for us to get on board. Okay. I'm okay with this, but it also opens up the idea of a protracted Warsaw Ghetto uprising story that could have happened, but will never have. But I'm okay with this. Again, Not sure if those are two positives, but yes.
For you, I would say they're two positives because you didn't yell, scream, or tell us you hated it. So I would say anytime we don't hear those words out of your mouth, that's a positive.
Oh, I'm holding on to everything else for later.
Oh boy.
Oh Lord. Okay, moving on. Shadow, give us two things you really enjoyed.
Right off the bat, I think we all probably like this. How much work and content Jade was able to put in such a short period of time. We all behind the scenes got to see the spreadsheets and all the details he went into, the random charts that the viewers probably didn't get to really see. The massive amount of work he put into what ostensibly was about 3 hours, about 3 hours of role playing between the two shows. He did a crap ton of work, just more work than I would put into writing down in 10 game sessions. I'll wing everything. I'm not writing shit down because I've already got boxes and boxes of notes from decades gone by. If I can't fit the adventure on a sheet of paper, that's more work that I'm going to put into a game, especially a short game like this, and he just I mean everything, even the drawing of the mechs. I assume you did that, and somebody else did that. Okay,
yeah, so
well
I sourced all my images from like Pinterest and Google.
Okay, well then I can. That takes away something I from the I didn't like list off your head and shoulders
Okay.
because I'll get to that later. And I like the combat in the first round over the second round a lot because when you're playing a beginning game and a low level game, the mooks or the low level adversaries, they need to go down fast, but not seem like they go down fast. They really, you're not going to get very far in the game if the very first things the players have to do combat with are just as badass as they are. And you know, okay, first combat, we got 3 dead players on the field. You really can't have that. You kind of got to tone it down a little, but it didn't feel like it was toned down. We hit them, they went down. There was some big guys, or at least one big guy in the initial combat that took a little extra work. Cool. Players have to, you know, combine their attacks onto an adversary like that. Not a problem. But the regular guys went by and went down really quick, and the combat was pretty darn fluid, and we got through, you know, a majority of the session without, you know, too much bloodshed on our part, you know, not too many hit points or whatever missing, but it still felt like, you know, a fair and potentially, you know, dangerous combat. We were, you know, the better trained, the you know, quote unquote heroes with the plot armor. Didn't really feel like that. We could have gone down pretty easy, but we didn't.
I need to remember my bonuses. I write bonuses down for the enemies and I completely forget, and I see the die roll. I'm like, oh, they missed. Oh wait, no, they didn't miss. Well, I already said they missed. Fuck it, move on.
Bonuses? What? You write that shit down too?
Yeah.
Yes.
I track that
Normal.
stuff.
All right, Connell. Give us 2 things you really enjoyed about the Jade's one shot here.
I'm a potato. No.
This isn't about
It
you,
was
Connell.
fun. I was able to rely. I was able to. Yes, the mission was somewhat serious, but I could play something where I could just relax and just go with it. Which is always a benefit, especially with doing one shots. There's nothing worse than doing a one shot and actually being miserable the entire time. Yes, you want to play. Yes, you want to be there with your buddies. Yes, this, but this isn't my bag. I don't get it. It's more than I really want to sign up with, which was not the case with this one. It was very streamlined. Everything was straight to the point. Granted, I didn't quite understand my character's race in the very beginning. That got pointed out to me the second game. I'm thinking of like a freaking hobbit. I didn't think I was like the midget potato man from Doctor Who. I did not quite understand that at the time. But once I got that, that's what made it better. It's like, fuck this serious shit. I'm up on a potato. And I went and did my thing. And I had fun with that. The mechs once again, easy to comprehend. You don't need a master's degree in math to push button on Mac. You just had to do the perfect, not perfect. You had to have a good dice roll, and that's really my 2 things. The mechs were not complicated because I've done mechs before. And it's like, the fuck am I looking at? And I had a character I could actually just relax and play with. You know, had a little bit of fun with.
All right, and last but not least on this one, Brucifer. What did you think of Jade's gameage?
My 2 positives I'm going to bring to the table. I like the fast immersion that he used, and I probably could take a few notes from his style of running games. Everybody that came by was gushing compliments about how his voice stays level during a game and he doesn't vary it. I don't know if that's just the microphone or if that's how he is whenever he runs a game. I've never played in one of his games before he did this. not since before Tablebreakers. His
I
delivery.
can't say I can speak to that.
His delivery was great. Everybody seemed to be noticing that. I'm gonna just take the popular piece for the first test ride. The second item I really liked about this was how we were kind of stumbling in the final act, and all we had to do was walk this guy up, and that was it. We just had to walk him basically 200 yards. Now, granted, 200 yards through sniper fire, maybe, or other fire, maybe, or ordnance, maybe, but that was it. And we were completely making it too complex, because I even took a break for a second. I'm like, I need to check out the ether and see what the ley line is doing, because I want to make sure that I'm doing things right. And it wasn't long. It was like less than a round after that. You're like, hey guys, all you have to do is just get him to here. That's
Hey,
it.
I do the mission. I do the job. I do it.
That's right. The NPC understood the assignment.
I am the NPC.
I appreciate that, but I was making things too complex because I thought I don't really have a whole lot of mech left. I'm about 1/3 chewed through, and one direct hit off something like what I've got, and I'm toast. I'll be a smear on the control panel or on that nice cushy chair that I was really enjoying sitting in naked. Hey, I always drive naked if I can. So don't let your skin touch my seat in the driver's seat of the car. Anyway, I just got to say that that was a really good end to that game, because we were there beating our heads against the wall, it felt like. And when you finally pulled the map out and zoomed out a bit, just get them to here. This is your victory condition. Okay, at that point, it was just like, oh, shit, that's it? That's all we've got to do? We're going for it. And it kind of wrapped up real quick after that. I was taking my time because I wanted to manage my resources, even though I've got like 4 friends that are pretty good at their jobs. No, I've got an arty, and that thing is, for the most part, a powerhouse. It's a glass jaw, really. Like I said, 1 or 2 good hits and it goes away. But I was very impressed with the style of game he ran. My inner BattleTech nerd that hasn't been out since he was 23, he wanted to play more.
Okay.
I am that BattleTech.
All right. So
Glad you guys enjoyed those things.
Your delivery was good, and the way you imparted the information, the way you bounced off, you never. And I'll say that I'd say all of us, we do this really well. We converse with our players really well. When I need somebody to see the level of professionalism exhibited with Tablebreakers, I always throw them a link for Jaide's game, because Jaide's delivery is pretty much like what I would want if I was a player. Now, as me, Bruce, I actually will go watch Kai's game, because I really enjoyed Kai's game. I loved Kai's game. But anyway, sorry.
You're allowed to like it.
All right.
Yeah, I can't wait for part 2 of that nonsense.
Not the only one, bro.
well, we've all kind of given our goods, our goods so far. I'll go ahead and throw mine out there. I really enjoyed the kind of change of genre. It was a fantasy, but it also had that steampunkiness to it that I really enjoy. I really did enjoy it for that. Also, just and this is to go more toward the ICRPG. I've played several games of it. Most of them on here. One off camera, I guess is the best way to put it. And I do enjoy the elegant simplicity of ICRPG, just for the simple fact of, literally you can have everything written down on, for all intents and purposes, an index card. And you don't need a 14 sheet, even if you're, casting magic or whatever, you don't need a 14 sheet character sheet in order to figure out what you're doing. And that's one thing, it's kind of the less is more type thing. And I really have come to enjoy that system. Don't get me wrong. I still love Exalted. Exalted is amazing. This is coming up as a close. This is coming up as a very close second. So definitely have enjoyed it. Now we're going to turn toward the little darker side here, and we're going to start with Bruce on this. Bruce, what were two things you did not enjoy?
I didn't like being woken up with mortars, as I stated before. I very much, if we are promised butt sex, there's an expectation, like you're not getting woke up for surprise sex. I was promised. They said butt sex, not surprise sex. This was not in the contract. True. Okay. And you don't really want me as a wizard, as a wizard of my level, as I'll say. You don't want me going into a game where I know specifics like where the enemy is going to be attacking from, what type of elements are they using, what is their force strength, are they expecting reinforcements, what is their command staff like. You don't want me to go into a game like that. So taking my testicles and smashing them with a hammer by not letting me have my grimoire, that was a very fine way to hobble the wizard. You only get this lightning bolt scroll. That's it, sir. Well, I used it like 3 times. Okay, fine, whatever. I might have to come back to you. And then I got Artie. You withheld Bruce's butt sex. Don't let that topic nut your fucking brain. Yeah, exactly. You can insert name here. The other thing I really wasn't too much of a fan of was that it felt like we were really just kind of. God, I hate saying. I don't want to sound like a nitpick on here, but the task we had just to find the dissenter, that would have been fine. I think probably you could have ran it without the option of take your pick of what you're going to do, because you had 2 quest lines to do, and the other one, I don't remember anybody getting jazzed up about the other one at all.
Get the prints out.
Yeah, I don't think anybody cared. I mean, we
did mull it about with the potential rewards being greater had we gone on that route.
Exactly, we could have, but you gave us Magitech armor and the slums. I mean, we're going to do some gentrification. The entire time, the control stick is smelling me, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
And where's Optimus War Crimes when you need him, please?
The mortar.
You leave Joe out of this.
Yeah, I was about to say, I missed that Scottish bastard. I haven't been with him for 2 months now.
I had a lot of fun, Jade.
All right.
I thought you did pretty well. I probably wouldn't have put the prince. Wouldn't have made that a quest line. I would have said he's in this area, and let the players pick up if they want to actually take the mantle and try to rescue him instead of go get the dissenter. But that's all right. That you did a fairly good. Oh, by the way, here's your homework assignment. What? Yeah, you got 4 hours to run, and you got a day to prepare for it. Have fun. Cheers to you.
I mean, in total, the entire time it took for me to prep was a grand total of about 6-ish hours in total.
Okay, I'm just going to say that I do run like adventure modules sometimes, like without a whole lot of deviation, and 6 hours for a game prep, like we must be at like 17th or 18th level if I'm doing 6 hours of game prep for my game. Because I don't even do 6 hours for like the first 5 levels of play. I note on a map, and then I note like various things I want the players to fight, and I go find stuff for them to pick up as magical gear, and I stay away from the big permanent items till they're like 7th level. And then yeah, I mean I'm a stingy bastard. And then,
I'm going to say the first. So the thing that took the most time was sourcing images, creating pre-gen characters, and the mobile suits. That was what took the most time. That took about 5 of my hours in total.
Were all those suits from 14 or 16?
They were from my brain.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that.
100% from my brain.
Okay, I thought you were using Magitech armor that's specifically in a game, because you
I was
had
using
me
the name.
thinking, like, if these 5 different suits are in this game, I might pick this game up on my Steam account. Just
no.
And insert name here. He is understood the assignment. Sourcing images is code for porn.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say the image search, the loot table. So I developed a unique loot table for each class I rolled up, and I rolled up 6 pre-gen characters. And it was a D100 loot list per character that you had the option of, and it was more customized loot for those characters because my thought concept there is specific types of characters are going to look for specific types of loot. The machinist or engineer isn't going to look for a battle axe. The warrior is. The red mage isn't going to give 2 flying craps about a Magitech wrench. The engineer might. The red mage is going to care about a grimoire and or rapier. So like I said, I customized the loot list and had some generic items sprinkled throughout. But yeah, that's what took the most time was the pre-gen characters, making the mechs, which are all 100% me. They're not, I only took the name and concept from Final Fantasy. They were all individually unique creations of my own. And then beyond that, like the actual story development and core concepts took maybe an hour to develop, as far as the actual like getting everything put together as to what I wanted to do.
Okay.
All right.
Kronos, I'm a stingy bastard when it comes to awarding treasure and gold and such.
Trust me, I can vouch for it.
Speaking of the voucher, Connell, what were 2 things you did not enjoy about the one shot that Jade put on for us?
I'm kind of there with Bruce, but when it comes to choices, you got choice A or choice B, where I find for one shots, especially when I'm in the shop, if I'm doing a one shot one, it's just best to just give them a goal, because unlike here, we could, we're 6 hours. That's 6 hours is what we're granted. At the shop, I can always make the one shot go an extra day if I have to. 4 hours, yeah, okay, 4 hours.
Most of us take 4. You take 6.
You know what? It should happen.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes, and this is nothing against with the way the story went, but it's like, here's your options. You can go get the trader, which, to be fair, some of the party thought he was a trader from our side, so they were gun-ho to go, strike him down. then when they found out, oh wait, no, this guy's a trader from the other side. Oh, all right, we're heading that direction. And so, I mean, that was one kind of thing, but that's just me as a DM. I have something I don't, I've learned that's more of a pain in the ass than what's worth half the time. People don't get options. No options for you. The food on the menu today is soup. The other thing, it's the same complaint that I have with every campaign. I want more. I want more at this particular story. I'm happy with it ended. This is a good Saturday morning cartoon type ending for or anime, however you want to look at it. But it's always leaving me wanting more. And so I'm like, okay, so we're not going back to that world. That's kind of sucks. But that's more of a personal thing than a, major problem. Those are my two.
Okay. Moving right along. Shadow. What was two things you did not enjoy?
Don't take this the wrong way, but I'm having a hard choice between things I didn't like. I'll try to group some of them into the things that would change. Right off the bat, I absolutely despise starting with nothing. That limits your choices. I've been in a couple of games recently where literally I went to the trouble to write down all my equipment that I was allowed to buy, only to have the GM tell me you don't have any of that. Well, why did I waste an hour and a half picking through equipment? Equipment allows the player choices, things you can do. Being stuck in a mech, that was like our only choice. So for combat, all we had was to use the mech and not really think outside that box. I like the idea of being in the mechs, but I didn't like the how shall I put it, convertible mech with no top cover. To me, that's just why. I mean, you're basically just in a pair of robot legs with a big gun. The other thing I didn't like,
because the Cobra hiss is trademarked, sir.
Yes. Yes.
The next thing I really didn't like was the cooldown time for the weapons. I get it, but I think they were potentially too long, which kind of either means they're really crappy technology or we're not all that proficient. Where if you roll a 1, you get to fire again. But if you roll a 4, I mean, how hard is it to just to do the thing and push the freaking button and sight it up? Fortunately, that wasn't like a killer for us, but I would have liked to, been able to shoot more. But the secondary weapon makes up for that. I get it, but and it seems actually I did more damage with the secondary weapon. I don't know if you noticed that. I took out more targets that way, and I'm like, why am I using the big gun? It's like an extra bonus, I guess. I'll just stick to the secondary weapon. But yeah, like I said, choices. I like equipment choices, Kainos. Equipment is everything when you're not a magic user or some sort of when you gotta just use your hands and your jack of all trades kind of abilities. Having no equipment means I really don't have, but I could move over here and shoot, move and shoot. That was it. Having other options, probably wouldn't have done much, but I just like the idea of having options. I mean, I sleep with things under my freaking pillow, if you know what I mean, and within reach. I don't care unless they disintegrated everything around where I personally sleep. I would wake up with like 3 to 5 things, not necessarily weapons, but tools that I'm gonna insist on having when I wake up in an emergency. But the things that I found were freaking stellar. I mean, everybody else got gypped when it came to the rolling on the table. I got a freaking unlimited magic bow that shoots freaking ice bolts that do almost as much damage as my mech, or at least that's the impression.
Dirty magazine. That's what I wanted. I wanted the dirty magazine.
You wanted the lustful alley ho.
And then the the bad guy killing, ice grenade, which was really, kind of cool. Pardon the pun. That both items I found were ice related. Okay, cool. That was like 1 in 200 odds of that, and it turned out really well. But yeah, I just like options, even if I'm never gonna use them.
All right, and
I just got to say that, like, those are some pretty valid complaints, but I mean, I've looked at a lot of the art for Final Fantasy, and a lot of their mech suits do have like that open look to them. Like,
it was the same thing in 40K. The Imperial Guard have these walkers where, I mean, they're just, and even Eldar have these sillier walkers where they're like stapled to the front of their walker. Like the target was the elf. You know what I'm talking about, don't you, Jade? Back in the day.
Yeah.
It's like, what is this? No, I want to be behind the metal. The metal gets shot first, then I'll bail out, when the bells and whistles and dials start telling me.
Honor in that.
I kind of a question for Shadow.
I'm not here to gain honor. I'm here to live and kill, and yeah, honor is a waste on the battlefield. Honor doesn't win. Honor is a detriment.
He talks about 40 or 50 things underneath his bed. Does any of them go bzzz? Is my question.
No, they go boom.
that's a chain knife.
It could have been, from Gears of War. That's what I'm talking about.
It's a chain. No, from 40K, a chain. Everybody's got their chain swords.
Oh, yeah.
And then one guy's got a chain knife that goes.
No, but I do have a machete. It's got a jagged blade on the back of the machete, but no, it doesn't go back and forth unless that's me doing it.
Okay.
Nobody doesn't belong there.
All right. So,
We need another one of these.
Jade made a couple of faces and things along those lines when you were giving your explanation about like the mechs and stuff. Did you want to expand on that now or wait for later on that?
I can wait for later.
Okay.
I think it's Ty's turn to give his.
I know. I'm trying. It's the calm before the rant. So
Bring it.
Just bear with us. I'm gonna shake him up and put him in front of the camera now. Ty, what were two things you didn't like?
Okay, first off, before you start talking about the matchstick armors being crappy, know your fucking place and know the goddamn system and the engine and the world that it's for. Those are pretty much just walk-in weapon platforms. They are not battle mechs, not in the way that you think they are. They are literally walking legs attached to a magical fusion plant and a set of guns. You are looking at the point in time when you're looking at it's a man driving a magically powered golem. If you play the Iron Kingdoms, you look at the Warjack. Take your jack pilot, your war mage. Take out the computer controls that make your Warjack work. Plug
Cortex.
Plug wizard into where Cortex is. That is what a Magitech armor is. It is not we are not looking at Battletech. We are not looking at even the Imperial Guard's Sentinel program. You are not looking at the War Walkers of the Eldar. You are literally looking at first generation. Someone has figured out how to make a magical war machine that walks and shoots big pew-pew beams to go kill people with. That is what they do.
I'm going to chime in on this. You're basically taking a steering component and a mobility component, strapping it to a howitzer, and then riding the howitzer into combat.
They are meant to be.
I'm sorry, but
what they are supposed to be employed as. What they are supposed to be employed as is weapons, is fire support platforms for infantry squads. You don't deploy the mechs as sole components. They are not main battle tanks. They are not the weapon. They are not spearhead devices that open up holes. They are legitimately a walking fire support platform for infantry. The infantry go out and do the hard battle, in their battle, while the mechs are supposed to be fire support. That is what they are. They are literally a self-propelled gun. They are not a main battle tank. In Final Fantasy, they are legitimately self-propelled guns. If you use them as a main breakthrough device, as a spearhead, as a heavy tank, you are not using them properly or how they were designed to be used in setting. In fact, if you see that when they're first deployed in Final Fantasy VI, they are literally there to play escort to a walking war machine who is actually the wizard in the background. They are not. They are support for the wizard who is doing the real heavy lifting. And whenever you saw them in game, they were not the spearhead to break through the front lines. They are literally a way to move somebody around and give heavy firepower to conventional non-magical infantry. That is literally what they do, what they were meant for, and why they are not a goddamn Titan. So don't ask for a Warhammer or a fucking Titan. They are a goddamn fucking machine that has a role for the setting it was meant to be used in.
So what did you dislike about how I ran? What did you dislike about the game?
I had absolutely nothing offensive or useful I could do. My entire actions were entirely, I had no passive, I could use it reliably abilities. I had only 2 abilities. Both of them caused hit points to be able to use, which meant that if I used them, I didn't have a passive ability. No, all I could do was heal somebody, but it reduces my hit points to the point where I gotta spend multiple rounds to wand back up to passive. I go passive and do nothing to get my health back, aka my mana, or you are looking at. So I could either heal someone or bubble, but the bubble really didn't do much unless you were going to be in combat. But the bubble also makes it so that way I lose hit points. So I had no passive ability. The mech itself had an offense ability, but because I wasn't geared towards doing anything productive besides because everybody else took all the cool mechs and nobody else wanted to be fighter bitch. Because if somebody had a higher hit, if somebody had a higher AC than 12, they should have been in the goddamn robot. But since I had the armor that gives me a plus 5 to my AC and the shield that gives me a plus 3 to my AC, I had the highest AC, therefore I could take the fights. But I had no way to contribute to the fights or make myself more threatening to make myself actually able to tank. So I had to do stupid shit because none of my spells were offensive. None of my spells had any form of benefit. I'm used to playing a white mage in 14 where I do have at least an offensive ability that stacks into my ability to heal. So I would still have at least something to do when I'm not pure healing. But since we were in the mechs for a good chunk of the fight, I didn't have I didn't have anything more than I am hard to hit. That is my only advantage I had, which kind of make me go, I don't have much. And then the one gear I got because I was trying to figure out how to keep other people alive, and so I couldn't go scrounging around for gear for very long because we didn't have a chance to scrounge for more gear. I had a magical bathrobe. That's what I had for gear, and that gave me better casting and a better AC, which is why I actually had a higher AC than I had. So if I actually looked at my gear, I actually would have had AC 21 throughout the entire fight, not 20. So I actually would have ignored some of the hits that I took, and so I too should read my own gear. So I'm looking at the idea that I didn't have anything to contribute for. I didn't even have a generic passive magical ability, which is the reason why I asked, hey, could I use my heal spell as an offensive action? Because me trying to use my gun on my mech was ineffective. There was no way I was going to, at this point, I was going to be just rolling to pray for a high number. And at that point, you might as well just spend your action screaming into a radio going, hey, where's help? Hey, this is the current stash report. Hey, this is where we're at. If anyone could come help. That's what I became used to. But I was doing this in the middle of, I'm literally being shot at by the entire planet to do what I should be doing in the back of the fight. But I wasn't in the back. I was literally the guy screaming out orders at the front, getting shot like a complete tard. And that's like the one thing that I was sitting here going, okay, I'm good at one thing, but boy, do I have nothing I can do to support myself. In fact, I was getting to the point where I was kind of wondering, can I start to take damage so I can heal myself, so I can have more to do besides run up there and scream like a little itty bitty toddler to get everybody's attention. There was a part of me that wanted to actually jump out of my mech and go beat somebody to death with a beer bottle, shake up the broken beer bottle in their cockpit, but then I realized I don't have the strength or melee abilities to be able to actually, because all of my powers are all built towards ultimates and magic, but I had no magic attacks and I had no ultimate attacks. My magic and ultimate was literally on healing, which I couldn't really do, and it harmed me to do it. And I couldn't heal myself, so I have to I can't heal my magical burn. I have to go hide for 2 turns to heal my burn. And it was this weird cycle of going, what do I actually contribute? Because the rest of you were spineless goddamn pussies and couldn't get in the melee, so I couldn't bubble you to make you guys take the hits because I was riding in the armored battle mech. I was riding as a sentinel that had the armor plate on the side. And yet here I am. What the fuck is, because everybody else, they're all doing the cool shit. And I'm like, fuck! I'm the wrong guy doing the wrong thing in the wrong mech. But I'm in the right place doing the right thing. God, this is terrible. And
you did good at it.
Yeah, I did good for being the Airstots tank. With no abilities that were actually useful. My entire job was soak bullets, and I did it well, but somebody else could have done it a whole lot better.
Okay.
Let's see. What was my ability? Shoot things every 4 rounds and hide. That was my ability. Shoot things, wait 4 rounds, and fucking hide.
I mean, there were definitely some moments where I did reflect on the characters, the pre-generateds that I made, and the powers I gave them, and I'm like, man, I don't know if that's a great power, or I don't think that's particularly awesome. But by then, it was like I had already started game. It was too late to go change it, and I think you did well with what you had.
I know. I got to play a white mage, but boy, was I the most ineffective white mage. This is kind of for somebody who has a white mage robe. So I know my white mages. And
so you learned the first night.
Nobody died. So you ran a dungeon or ran an instance or whatever, and nobody died. So you know what? White mage success.
Yeah.
Hey, I tried.
I could have white maged that in my I could have AFK white maged that. I honestly could have AFK white maged that. And that's not that doesn't really say that you're a great white mage if your tank and DPS are so good that they just wipe the dungeon and all you gotta do is occasionally go buff. And yeah.
Noted.
We were either way over geared for the encounter or I was AFKing it. And as a white mage, that makes me feel sad because I really wasn't being a wizard.
Oh my god, what was my potato ass wearing the first half of the mission? Oh yeah, a fucking bed sheet.
Yes, but you were at least an offensive bed sheet that had things to do besides scream like a toddler and hope to God throwing whiskey bottles and porto bags at a bad guy will be enough to draw attention from the artillery piece, the sneaky gets, the assassins, the range combat people, aka the people who actually can do something. And,
That's actually kind of fun to play. A guy who throws whiskey bottles and smacks people with porn magazines.
Did you literally listen to one of my actions during that combat, which was scream loudly and throw whiskey bottles at whiskey bottles?
Yeah, but it was the second part of it that made it a little bit more interesting and smack people with porno mags.
Yeah, but that's literally what I was reduced to doing, which was non-combat, no dice rolling, just praying that I could convince the GM enough that I am an actual threat. Especially when people were like, "We're going to combat now," and I'm like, "Oh dear God, we're moving." And now, as a tank, I have to move with to continue to be a tank because while I do play white mages, I know how to tank, and God damn it, I know how to go in there. Which is the whole reason why I said if I next game I'm just going to go. Somebody find the biggest, heaviest armored dipshit and let me play it. Oh, wait, I did that during Bruce's game, where I just walked through a bunch of bad guys and killed people with shields as I walked over them. So, yes, and I also did that. I've also played Big Tanky Dude in Shadow's game. So I understand Big Tanky Dude very, very well. Maybe I let somebody else play Big Tanky and Healer, so that way I can go play DPS like everybody else. But don't worry, nobody wants to play tank or healer. Everybody wants to play DPS. Fuck you, looking for group. I'm not queuing. Y'all screwed. You're never gonna find your healer or your tank. You'll just sit in queue for hours on end while I do all my dungeons over and over and over again. Fuck you, roll an alt, bitch.
It's been a while.
But you, Baron.
That's a hard act to follow.
No shit.
I know, right?
I think with my mech, I wish I had a better secondary, at least an offensive type. Being able to hook up and drag, that would have been that was great. If something was like broken or something like that, being able to do that, because I believe that was my secondary. But I had the repair welder of flailing, just because let's be honest, I tried to heal the mechs as best as I could from the back end.
Your dice rolls were not having it.
It works. Come on, damn it! It was I was the opposite of the heal bot that we needed. I was the heal bot that was ineffective, but that was the dice, and I understand that. But being able to at least some kind of back end support, that I think would have been much
scattergun.
Yeah, but I couldn't fire that thing either to save my life.
Well, I mean,
but
that's
still,
dice rolls.
but I mean, the thing is that I just felt more kind of in the back pipe. I was more of trying to patch everything up as opposed to being involved. And I do understand that was kind of the role, but still, even the healer every once in a while gets to pop off something cool. So yeah, I think that was just with my ability, I wish I was able to do it. My ultimate more it was more of I wish I was able to do it in more range as opposed to like a touch type deal to make the gun, fire, something a little bit better. I think that would have been more of a plus to the group. because when we're in the conga line, trying to get up to the front, moving to okay slap and then moving back. That was kind of a type mechanic. More as it'd been better if I could oh, I've got this pebble, I can throw it. Oh, look, I rolled and I hit your bow, and now you can shoot all kinds of craziness. You're doing a D12 with your bow instead of your D4, D6, or whatever. I think that would have been just something a little bit better. Just be able to do it range. That was my only kind of downside with the character. Granted, I understand what the ability was and all that. I just wish I could have been able to do something a little bit more. I will say at the end, the flying potato at the end, bringing the daggers down, doing the ultimate Guardians of the Galaxy, Drax the Destroyer, jumping onto the bad guy. That was kind of a cool way to kind of end it to get the guy out. Even though he ran and go. I think that we actually did our job. Is that we provided the quote unquote shield wall to get him out, because we didn't necessarily need to go with him. Our job was to get him out. So it was that was kind of how I kind of saw it, and especially with we were the distraction to get him out. We didn't have to win the fight. We just had to distract them long enough to get the guy out. And I think we actually performed that beautifully. Truthfully, he was able to get out, and all that. And I also did, going back to kind of a foreshadowing of things I did like. I did like the ability of almost to choose your own adventure types. That we had three choices. We could either run, we could either save the prince, or find the guy who's got the information to help end the war faster. God love the prince. War needs to end. It's been going on for way too long. We chose the ability to save lives save thousands of lives instead of one. Granted, we may have gotten a great treasure out of it, but to quote Spock, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, and that's what we chose. We chose the needs of the many as opposed to the needs of the few. And I think that was kind of the way that, as a consensus, that we went with. So we got one more round here, I think, and then we'll just kind of open it up to any additional questions that anyone else on the panel actually has for Jade. Hi, what are things that you would have changed with your character?
At least one offensive ability, even if it was just simply doing a passive damage ability that would lead into seeding into giving a bonus towards healing later. Sorry, again, used to playing white mages where I have abilities that synergize and lead back into doing. So if I have to expend life force to be able to actually do my healing ability, a passive ability to lead into that, minorly harm someone. And it doesn't need to be, it has to be a massive amount of damage, just like 1 or 2 points, just to go minor damage, and then those damages can stack up as bonuses to healing when I do actually have to harm. I do actually have to. So having a harm ability, because because harming and healing are definitely both sides of the healing of the I use life magic abilities, or if I want to go. So just having a bit more versatility besides, oh dear God, I'm going to die horribly in this, would have been cool. But that's my only thing I would have changed to myself. Because other than that, everything actually felt right and it was cool. I liked the fact that we actually got, bombarded by air support and had to do something smart. Like, I don't know, look for cover because big scary flying thing with guns is about to kill everybody. If you stand in the open, god damn it, you're a goddamn dead Haji. Fuck you. Run away, find cover. Yes. I mean, fuck. Yeah, I was happy with. I'm honestly happy with most of everything. I just hated myself. I hated my character. That's honestly what it came down to. I loved my character, but I hated him at the same time. Only because the fact that I look at him and go, I played a better version of you, potato, and I'm like, oh no, because again, I come from a very long line of white mage characters, and I played a lot of them, or they were priests in WoW, or other healing games. I'm always the healer, and then I look at my potato and go, you need to get put back in the oven for a little bit longer.
Noted.
I'm a potato.
Noted.
Yes,
before you go,
I'm a raw
before you go with the second one, I want to mention something that you actually put in our Discord after the first session. I think that was actually a very valid point that you did.
I pointed out things in Discord. Let me go scroll back for a few years and go find my
July 14th.
July 14th.
Just after the pictures of the engineer things.
Oh yeah, which is me putting ballistas like idiots on everything. Yeah, that is pretty much the whole idea of because of the fact that I was thinking about my many times playing as part of a link shell, part of a guild, part of a grand company, is that we were technically part of a larger militia, the town militia, and we were about to get rotated off of service, which meant we were about to be relieved, which meant. And I don't think we were the only squad that was on our shift because we did have shifts. And I don't think, we were the only 5-6-man group who was in our town, which meant there was more of us and they were scattered everywhere. And the one thing that when you play Final Fantasy or any kind of bigger game like this is you realize you're not alone. You're not. You don't fight alone. You're never alone. You're always part of a bigger organization. We have ways of communicating with our friends. And during the chaos of it all, we were caught with our pants down. But we managed to drive back the first wave, and we were out there. Other people might not have been so successful. They might be isolated or in pockets of 2s or 3s. They're probably disorganized, but we knew that there was still somebody, probably the grand company guild leaders, who were still, intact, in coordinating, because we were given jobs, given missions, and given coordination, which meant there are other people who were probably scared, lost, desperate out there in the chaos, in the fighting, and that because we were a group that had managed, even if we didn't only have our pajamas and only what we could scavenge, we were still out there. We were organized. We should have, we could have and should have been organizing and calling out to anybody else in the area who was in a situation like us. Because again, we're all part of a link shell. We all have the communication devices that allows us to communicate with our link shell. And so we should have been acting as a point of coordination to bring other people to know that this is a point of safety and a point where you could rally around. And even if all we were going to do was gather up the broken, scattered remnants of the militia, because of the fact that we were about to get rotated off and allowed to go back to our whatever we do for adventuring and civilian jobs between our turns as militia, our replacements were also in town, and we didn't. And we didn't try to coordinate with our reinforcements and our replacements. We were literally isolating ourselves and not trying to act as part of a bigger, greater group, which is what we were going to. Which, if we probably had more sessions, we had more time, it probably would have been. We got the general out. Yeah, and take care of us. And so if we got the defector out, in looking at some of the things that were shown to us after the last session last week, there wasn't going to be an easy way. We were surrounded. We were outnumbered. There's a siege going on. The best thing we probably could have done was gather up the scattered broken remnants of the militia and either go to ground, take our suits, hide them in basements, hide them in broken barns, hide them in debris, go to ground and either form a resistance in town or make an organized withdrawal and escape the city, because we're a guild, we're a group, we're a grand company, and we are part of a bigger country. We can probably have either fought our way out of the encirclement or gone and become a resistance and done it. We are, in short, we should have been acting as the beacons of organization, because either we're the beacons of organization, beacons of hope and the heroes, or we are going to be following the direction of other people who might still be the centers of the guild and able to coordinate. But unfortunately, because of the way the story was and the chaos and the speed of what things were happening, we didn't really get a chance to see that particular aspect of the game be explored in detail. The combat was happening fast and furious. The airstrike from the airship, which, well, thank God the rest of you opened fired on it and damaged it severely enough to make it go, I don't want to be here, and turn into a lawn dart. We had the chance. It's true. If it tried that stunt again, the party would have probably brought it down. And I'm pretty sure its air crew probably went, yeah, let's not die. We're a very valuable machine. Let's not die. Especially if it knows that all it's got to do is wait for the rest of the army to come kill us, which means we go to ground and try to, organize a resistance and try to save as many people as possible, or escape. Some way escape. And I said, we didn't get a chance to organize that. We didn't have a chance to really explore it because, again, the pacing was simply, we only had 2 hours to push through and do as much as we could. I'm understanding. I'm okay. I'm happy. That's why I wasn't bitching about it. But I could see where, had I been more awake, had this been a longer term session, had I been in more of my usual command and control intel guy mode, where I'm fucking want to do all this shit, I would have figured this out a week before and started playing it. But unfortunately, I was dead tired. I needed caffeine. I was exhausted, and I didn't think about it. And I feel sorry that I didn't think about it and didn't get a chance to push it as hard as I should have or wish I could have.
I will definitely take note of that. Like that was potentially an option, was to call for support. It's not that I'm surprised nobody did do it. The frenetic pacing of the combat was kind of on purpose. And by design of the actual story and how it takes place. In the original design, the original story, Fall of Arnor, the party are mobile suit pilots that are woken up from cold sleep, and they're the only ones left on the planet, so they don't have support as an option. In this one, in my redesign and reskin of this, I wanted to give you guys options, so that you could choose. You could choose to run away from the city entirely. You could choose to go meet the enemy on the front lines. You could even choose to save the prince or save the defector or try for both. I wanted to give you as many potential choices as possible, and maybe even kind of poke your brains and get extract some ideas from you, like what you wanted to do in the city. Had you called for support, I probably would have sent fire support your way. That's not outside the realm of possibility for that. And I appreciate you thinking about it and putting it in the Discord chat. So,
Hey, Mike, Jade, you have a question there from 6 Nation 31 King.
Okay, so this is going back to one of my resources, Final Fantasy 14. Final Fantasy 14, your character joins. This isn't really spoiler territory. It happens within like the first hour or two of playing the game, maybe 3 hours into the game. Your character joins what is called a Grand Company. A Grand Company is basically a country's military. Only I kind of turned it on its head a little bit. The characters were already part of a Grand Company. The Grand Company's name in Norwegian is Tablebreakers, Bordkernecker. But the concept there was part of their contract of the Grand Company giving them lodging, giving them food, helping them with quests and attaining gear and whatnot. Part of the contract is 1 week out of every month they have to do some kind of service for the Grand Company. And at the opening of the story, they were armed guard duty in a city, and they were 1 day short of being free of it. Like their next day was going to be the last day of service for the month before they were able to, go freely adventure elsewhere. So they kind of were part of a militia, and part of their militia training was the mech suits. So that was what I was kind of working with, and I designed it that way on purpose to get them into the moment immediately. I didn't want to faff about with the introduce your character, or you wake up one morning and do such and such. No, I wanted an instant. You're in combat right now. What are you doing? Your bunkhouse just got shelled and all of your gear got slagged. What are you doing?
All right, Shadow. What are 2 things that you would have changed within your character or within the game itself?
Honestly, nothing. I did what I was supposed to do. I went in, I shot things, I killed things. There were maybe 1 or 2 instances I could have, when firing at the airship. But if I would have shot sooner, I would have been at a greater minus. So I think. Sorry, Flated. Yep, there you go. I'm pretty sure that was good. Other than missing. I was there to shoot stuff, and that's what I did.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and bring that up, Flatey. Yes. Currently in Humble Bundle, they do have the ICRPG bundle available there. So if you do...
Uh-oh, frozen.
Definitely go and pick that up. Connell, what were 2 things that you would have changed? Either with your character or with the actual...
I think
scenario.
I would have definitely gave the mech a side weapon, even if it was a smaller caliber, something other than, hey, you can shoot. Here's a D4 round, or was it D4, and hide. I know I played the scout, but a little bit more self-defense or a little bit more offense would have been, in my opinion, a little bit cooler to have. I mean, I'm not, I had a great time, so it's really hard for me to bitch about much of anything. But I would definitely have gave him just a small side weapon of some kind. And the other thing I would change, I don't think there's much I would change on much of the gameplay other than the mech. Other than, as I say, with all these campaigns, I wish we could do 1 more day instead of doing the 4 hours, just because I want more time in this world. I want more time at this game. Unless it's Shadow's game, then I at least need like maybe one less day. I don't know. I'm just playing.
Come on, man.
I like that game. I like that game a lot.
You are
Thanks,
calling kettle black at this point.
Yeah,
So,
I know. I just want to make sure
Hey,
he's
Mr.
still,
Kettle. Mr. Pot called. He
I
says
just,
you're black.
he's the oldest person here. I want to make sure the old man was like still awake. That's my thought processing. Other than that, no.
That game.
okay, I have to blow this up just because of the picture that Bruce has.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our friends over
I
at
need
Biggest
eye bleach.
Speakers.
I need eye bleach.
Yeah.
my
Brain
God.
bleach, more like.
All I got is Visine, and it's actually empty. Fuck.
All right. With Bruce has stepped away, so I think with me, I wish that I wish that we would have had a little bit more info, like for instance, being able to jump up on the actual roofs of the. I didn't even think about that until I think Connell's character kind of went up and over. I was like, wait, we could have had the high ground during all this. And yeah, that was one thing that, as a character, our characters would have known something along those lines, but as players, we didn't have that those options available to us, and until we saw one person actually do it. After the shelling, I don't think it would have been as feasible, just because thinking about it, well, the damage done, things along those lines, the possibility for collapse, structural stability, things along those lines. I think beforehand, yes, it was definitely a viable option, but the way that it was kind of presented to us, this was kind of the hobbles of the actual town. So I think in a lot of our minds, we didn't really think that our big heavy mechs would have been able to get up on there and been safe. But it was at least thought process until I also taking for granted that Connell's was probably the lightest mech that we had, being the scout vehicle. So yes, he's made to go into those type of situations to kind of go up and over things and whatnot. But still, it was one of those options that I think if we would have had, I think it would have worked out a little bit better. Basically, he was definitely a mid-off mech for those who play with the War Machine side with that mortar, definitely. I think that of the abilities, I think one of the offensive, the things that would have been good for Kai's character would have been, because he has that aura as a red mage, faster reload times. Being able to put that aura to be able to affect the mechs themselves, that would have been great, with him being able to be kind of the shield wall, be able to lessen the reload time, almost like a quote unquote kind of morale type bonus, to be able to have that aura to allow the mechs to reload faster. I think if you run this again for a different either a different folks or whatever, I think that for the red mage being able to on the mech side, I think that would have actually strengthened his character a little bit more and been able to give a little bit more support, I think, to the actual overall. And I think that would have worked great with the character type. Yes, I am shielding you guys so you guys can reload faster, so you can unload faster to get me out of harm's way. I think that would played into it a lot more on the for the mech lot, and just limit it just for the mechs. I think that would have been a great boon for him to
I could
be able
definitely
to,
see like a haste spell or something, like a
yeah,
group haste spell for him.
yeah, and just have it limited to reload time. Cut it by half. So it's either going to be a 1 round or a 2 round reload, and I think that would have that would be a way to give him a little bit more and not have it cost. It's a type of it's a single cast, and maybe he has to do it every X amount of shots, and then he has to recast it. So that, I think that would definitely give him a little bit more flexibility. And like I said, yes, he was playing the shield wall for us, but being able to allow the rest of us to unload or be able to do more offensive type things to get him out of the harm's way. I think that would have, because out of all the mechs, his did take the majority of the damage.
Oh, yes,
Connell was a close second.
I took 9.
But yeah,
I was at less than half.
but yeah,
I was going to have a lot.
yeah, Kai, I think, only had maybe 1 or 2 boxes left on each thing.
I was taking hits on myself so that way I could continue to function.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, but
pretty much the same thing. I was at 2 boxes on across the board left.
yeah, but the way with the shield, but he was taking the majority of his stuff on his person to allow the mech still function. So
Yeah.
that was after his mech was already down to that. So, and me personally, I think that's 2 things that I would definitely like to have seen, that would have definitely not necessarily tipped the balance of power, but would have shown why we were together more and worked well as a unit. With the menagerie that we had put together. All right,
Okay.
Bruce, are you back with us?
I am. Sorry about that.
Okay, that's fine. What were 2 things that you think you would have liked to have changed with either your character or with the game in general?
I hate VTTs. Okay. I know Jade probably doesn't have an alternative to that, but I prefer like just laying out a blank white construction paper and drawing line of sight what we see. You could just move a coin or token across the map and then just draw things out as we can see further and further till the entire map is either explored or we found the exit to the map. One of those works out pretty well for me. And I think there's a reason why I like that so much. I think that works a lot better. VTTs, you have to, like, whenever he showed us a map of what was going on, like, we had everything available to us. We could see everything on it. There was no fog of war. And
I could have put a fog of war.
I'm going to hit the tactical side of this, because I think that was like the one thing we could have really enjoyed a little more. And I probably shouldn't, because my character is very brittle. He's fragile. He's red mage. But I really like the idea of fog of war, and occasionally knowing that there's somebody else over there, maybe within this range, because he just gave you a mortar. How long was it near? I have no idea. But it came from over there and it hit this peak. Oh shit! Well, that I can figure out where he may have launched it from. Okay, go for it, Algebra Boy. And that sort of thing. But I think fog of war would have helped this a little bit more. And VTTs have to have that toggleable. If you don't, it just shows you the entire goods all at once. Did I mention the butt sex in the morning? Did I mention the butt sex? Okay, there we go. I wouldn't go for butt sex in the morning. I probably
More of an afternoon guy for butt
scenario
sex,
that
I'm
he
guessing he
gave
is.
us, where we get our beds rocked with fire and mortar. I don't know if I would have gone with that. I would have probably wanted to do something a little more along the lines of gentle start.
Okay.
There is no gentle start.
No, there was no gentle start here. It was right to surprise sex. But
It was a gentle caress, and you enjoyed it.
a gentle caress with a spiked glove. Yes, I get it.
That's not lube, that's fire.
Yeah.
Hey, it was so hot.
I think that was most other people like this reminds me of a scenario that we were given for one game day back in the 2000s where you create characters and this is a brand new Complete Arcane book. So we get these characters from the Complete Arcane, Complete Warrior, Complete Skilled, whatever, Adventurer, and we get these characters that are not PHB characters, but they're special characters out of the WotC book, and we get our gear for our level, and then when the game starts, you're separated from your gear like before you even answer yes to anything. Like the game started, and now you're in Zastam's dungeon. You're naked and afraid, and there's a rat chewing on your friend, the guy that just died of dysentery. And that's kind of how it reminded me of. I'm not a big fan of that, but that's one way you can start a game to, okay, we're going now. That's one way. That's when you could do that.
Okay.
And I insert name here. I consider those type of games like surprise sex, because like you have your stuff already ready. I just spent 4 hours creating this character. He's got these accoutrements. He's got this magic items. He's got these benefits. He comes with this package for mayhem of his design. But when the game starts, completely just broom that off. I just need you as that corpse walking and talking until you run out of hit points.
Okay.
All right. So those are all the questions that we had prepped for tonight, but we still do have some time left. Was there any additional questions that the panel actually had for Jaide? We'll move him up front and center. So
I would like to know, you've ran this one other time before. In your head, if you had 6 hours, what would you extrapolate on? What would you extend out? Or what scene would you...
The original story, The Fall of Arnor, which is a index card RPG warp shell one shot. In the text, it says the players are limited to 2 hours of actual play to get it done. Actually, it said 79 minutes to get it done. It was almost the exact same scenario. So that's what I ran for Free RPG Day every 2 hours. I was running a group of 5 to 6 players. 4 to 5 players through the same exact story that you ran, but in 2 hours. Everything you did was 2 hours or less. And most of them got it by the skin of their teeth, got the goal accomplished. If I had more time with this scenario, I wouldn't have started you with nothing. You would have started with some gear. I don't know if I would have done mech suits because I don't think they were necessary if I would have more time. Kai is right. The mech suits or the Magitech armors are not supposed to be battle tanks. They're actually supposed to be mobile weapon platforms that are meant to shock and awe and then be there for support, for infantry support. Other things that I would have done if I had more time or more sessions of it, I probably would have extended out some other scenes, like the scene with the defector, the sixth in line to the Imperium throne. I would have extended that scene out a little more to give a little more context of why he was leaving the Empire and why he was trying to join the Alliance and aid the Alliance. You may have had the option to do both the defector and prince missions, where you could go get both of them and get both of them out of the city. Like that was definitely a potential option that you could have tried to do. I would have probably attacked harder if the defector was out in the open. Like if he had been seen by any of the Imperial forces, they'd have radioed his position, and you would have been under consistent fire and consistent attack the entire time. If I had more time, that final fight would have gone vastly differently. Because the original design I had in mind for that final fight was a 6-heart monstrosity, and by 6 heart I mean like 60 HP, where he doesn't take damage from anything that is a 5 or less, from any weapon that is not ultimate or magic. He just ignores any damage 5 or less. The other design I had in that fight was originally was after he loses 2 hearts, infantry comes to back him up, and he gets more mooks on his side. At 2 hearts remaining, he goes into a different phase where he kind of casts caution to the wind, and he goes all out, and he buffs his stats up another 1 to 2 points, and is doing hell for damage. So I mean, there were a lot of things that I could probably do with more time. I mean, but we all could. Like, not all of us are this guy here and ran 3 sessions of 2 hours apiece.
I'm not saying you can't.
Well, the cat's out of the bag now. So, but yeah, no, I would have done a few things differently if I have more time.
Okay, I was just really curious about that because you have an interesting scenario. There's a lot of dangling narrative there that somebody that really enjoyed the game could think about it, and within just like maybe 15 or 20 minutes could start adding story threads like, man, what happens after that? What do they get out of this character? That what deep dark secret does he say? Do the players get their weekend time extended? Oh, by the way, you're no longer weekenders. You're no longer reservists. You've been shoved into the military full front and center. And by the way, since you're so good at that, those open-topped Kachatan unit, those marauder beasts, you're going to be taking those to these supply depots of the enemy. Have fun. They're getting fortified. So be quick. I could just see that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, and there's no saying that I can't do something like that for a future Tablebreakers if we wanted to continue that kind of character or those character arcs.
Have you ever heard of the town of Brest, France?
Can't say that I have.
Okay, the reason why I ask is that there was a early morning raid in Brest, France, back in the 40s when France had been conquered by the Germans, and they had built this huge set of concrete and rebar reinforced submarine pens in the bay. And when you walk in the sub pens of Brest now, it's in the dark. It smells like a basement. You're walking for about maybe 200 feet, and then you start seeing light around the corner. And as you keep going, like when you reach that corner and look around, in the ceiling, there's 5 foot of ceiling, 5 foot thick ceiling with twisted rebar and concrete and pieces of concrete chunks sitting there on the portions that's not submerged for the sub pins. It's great. But I'm just saying, if I could just throw to you just an idea so you could lock that in your head and just for future endeavors, just a future scenario. Have fun with that, Jade. Have fun with the logistics of attacking a town that's fortified on the side of a mountain with aqueducts from over 2,000 years ago flowing into town from the Romans, with the moss and the red brick so brightly displayed against the browns and greens. And then you have the Joymans, which have their sub pins facing the bay. And the bay, by the way, the fortifications of the town are about 50 foot up from the walls, or 50 foot down from the walls. The walls are 50 foot high around the port area. So just so you can have an idea of what you might craft for later in the future. I wish the best for you, sir.
Something to think about.
I want to suplex one of these. That's what I want to do.
Noted.
And he wants to put a 44 on it too, just for good measure.
As long as I can suplex it, it doesn't freaking matter. I gotta be trained. I gotta suplex a train. It's gotta be cool.
I'd like to welcome the Twitch raid we had. She-Rock is streaming over there, and we picked up a few people from Twitch. Thank you. We've got about 30 people in the chat right now between the various Twitch and YouTube algorithms and Rumble. Thank you for being here tonight for this game, for this discussion.
So when is Tablebreakers starting running weekly Discord games for everyone? That might be down the road. That might be like
we've got some stuff in play, guys.
That requires time. I have very little.
It kind of goes with the comment I made last night after Gatekeepers about epic play. Yeah, the idea of being in an epic level campaign from 0 to whatever, it sounds amazing. I want to get in one, but who here has the time that they can commit? And unfortunately, well, you're retired. You don't count.
Count.
You don't count. You're retired.
He just has more time than us. He's
Right.
putting his time for
work and have other things to do.
And don't forget, I probably also have less time than you guys.
I mean, there's this radio program and all the other videos and all the other people's channels you'd have to, keep in mind for. Yeah. So, anyways.
I'm just happy we have YouTube and StreamYard to do all this stuff, because if you were like doing this, going from studio to studio to studio to studio, you have to live in that town. You have to have a driver. You have to have the street lights timed. You've got to have, like, when they say cut, we're cutting at this time. That means you're getting up out of the chair, getting to the next studio. This is so much better to have StreamYard, I'm telling you. And yes, Trooper 1985, I said Brest, France. Brest, France is awesome. Lovely town. Good people.
Of course, behave.
So,
does anybody else have any questions for Jade?
So I done all my yelling. I'm done.
I want to know, for the people that are local, when are we going to just show up at Jade's house and bang on his door for a game? I mean, we're not going to leave.
I don't know.
I know better, because he'll sick the Huskies on us and they will lick us to death.
No. Huskies, you just got their little bag of ice. And
Nope. They will totally lick us to death.
Or a pumpkin.
Okay.
One of those sweet pumpkin one of those pumpkin pie pumpkins. Just throw them in the opposite direction. It works. It's like going to Pekin with meth. You throw the meth one direction and you run the other.
Okay,
No.
here's the problem.
Nice.
When do we have a point where not everybody else is either running a game, part of a game, or or recording 400,000 episodes in one fucking week. You know, where it's like, well, we have the Wednesday show, Thursday show, the Go Suck Max's Dick show, the Sunday show, the Saturday show, the Monday show.
Well, it's Tuesday?
There's Tuesday, but I'm busy on Tuesday because that's my volunteer day.
Tuesday's my board game night.
Just because you want to volunteer does not mean I don't want to play.
Right. It's like, now if that ever falls apart, sure, I will have Tuesday free. Okay, Tuesday, where everybody else is not doing 400 other things. You know, movies, reviews, things, talk, chit chat, blah blah. Hell, even my every other Saturday is now probably. I find out it's like a full on meeting.
Where don't forget Saturday we have Kai's Musings Volume 3.
Volume 3. So
every other Saturday we have your campaign, Bruce.
Right. So we need to squeeze somehow, some point, to allow for gaming to happen.
Once a month.
Rather than talk about gaming.
Whoa. No. On February 29th.
What was that?
February 29th.
Oh, yeah. That one day. So.
Every 4 years.
Right.
Do you remember what your character did last? No, it's been 3 fucking years ago.
That was 4 years ago, asshole.
Whatever.
Yeah, but so therefore, somehow, between all the talking about gaming, we have to actually game.
That's the thing. We're one of the few groups I know that actually games that talks about RPGs. Everybody else I know doesn't play. They just go to Clownfish and then they go to Kotaku and Polygon and they go, and then they have content.
Don't forget, Midnight's Edge is also there for those of you who want to rage about pop culture. And let's see.
I know you listen to Midnight's Edge.
Yeah, not so much as I used to, but yeah. Let's see.
Tom. I like Tom a lot.
Oh, don't worry. We also have to, parrot whatever the fuck Red Letter Media says. They're funny, but yes.
Or just parent as in being
okay. Earlier today, it came out that their jokes became real.
Yeah, I know.
That the Hasbro Plus multiverse.
I know. Watch Red Letter Media. There's Midnight's Edge. We got to parrot whatever new outrage Clownfish puts out, because obviously they're now the arbitrators of what angry culture is. Oh, and then occasionally, if you're still on the fringe and like some of the older people, you just parrot whatever Doomcock says, which is exactly what Midnight's Edge says, which is exactly what Clownfish says.
I haven't found authority that Kathleen Kennedy is going to be fired.
Right. And according to Doomcock, she's been fired for the last 4 years now, but guess what? She's not gone. But don't worry, Midnight's Edge. She's leaving right soon, but it's not gone yet.
No.
What's that? Critical Drinker?
Right. So we just gotta find whatever the hell is the current rage bait topic that we're gonna fucking yell about and get everyone angry over, so that way we get more clickbait clickpoint views, so that way we can continue to keep the algorithm going on here, rather than actually being, useful or interesting. But useful, interesting does not get views, and that's all we really care about, is getting those subscribers and views.
Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
Like, click, and subscribe, everybody. If you like our content, continue to do this, or otherwise we're going to give you a Raid Shadow Legends commercial, or this video was brought to you by World of Warships or World of Tanks.
Oh, fuck off.
Have you been talking to Greg from Bruce's Saturday's game? Because that man hates YouTube.
YouTube keeps me sane while I'm on the road and when I come home from work, so therefore I watch a lot of shit. And therefore you are going to always hear, well, I would talk to you about someone who I really, really use, a service I really enjoy. It is NordVPN.
Oh, God.
You need a virtual private network device for you to be able to search the internet because you don't want the FBI knowing what you jerk off to. Protect your information.
I do. I want them to know. I want them to know too. I want the camera. I get out my flaccid 4.5 inches. And
for all those people,
So yeah, I'm going to be pulling this down and editing it later.
for all those of
All right. Bring it back, guys. Bring it back. Bring it back.
going to say,
I-
for all those,
Inhale, exhale.
I just need to get rid of one of the satellites from spying on me. I just got to get rid of one of the satellites. That's it.
I know. So yeah, it's like just wait for it. Eventually, and that's all we're gonna do is bitch about how whatever WotC's done again, and so that way we get those clicks, those fat clicks. We get all the views, and then we can get sponsors who will throw stupid money at us, so we can do more stupid shit. Yes. No.
No. No
so
politics.
what are we talking about next week? They're Baron bringing it back down to our normal shenanigans.
Well, does anyone else have any questions for Jade before we go into?
No.
I love your
for
game.
dinner tomorrow.
Yeah, you had a really good game tonight, Jade. I'm looking forward to watching what you have to say tomorrow night on the Rando stream with Max, not the other guy. And looking forward to seeing what we talk about next week. There is a certain member of our chat that has got a document, a design document, and some pre-gens. I believe they're ready for us. But I don't know
I
if
need to
we're ready
do some
to talk
reviewing.
about those on camera
I am
yet.
currently grilling him right now on how to make sword combat more fun or interesting or figure out if I'm reading the rules right. Because I like the Swordmaster, it sounds pretty cool. It's weeb enough. It's weeb enough for me to not to be able to enjoy it. So yes. So no spell casting, no chef, Well, I did want to be the ship captain and do awesome aerial naval combat action. I kind of want to be a weeb and have my weeb sword and do weeb effects. So.
All right. So.
What?
No, insert name here says there's a cluster of American Intel satellites dedicated to observing Bruce. It looks like a school of fish in the night sky.
This is true. This is very true.
Awesome.
So, what we're going to. Hi, this Saturday, you and Bruce are going to be sitting down on both your channels. And because I just finished plugging that into the StreamYard thing. So that's all taken care of for you. So you guys will be sitting down, going over some things and more of your musings that do come from your Discord.
Which I write way too much about, and we'll never get through.
Yes.
I really enjoyed that. Go ahead.
Yeah. And yeah, from what I've seen, there's been a lot of actual positive stuff coming out of that too. So definitely applaud you both on sitting down doing that.
Yeah, I don't like to write about negatives things on there, or if I do, I want to put a positive spin on how it can be improved. I don't want it to be turned into just an I'm angry. I'm angry. Here's my angriness. Grr.
Hey, Angie. Shadow, what do you got coming up this week?
I'll be on the radio tomorrow talking about Bigfoot. Not my favorite topic, but I don't get to pick the topics always.
Wait, what
Friday,
on the radio?
Radio 1-2. It's a paranormal gig that I've got once a week with Raven McMahon. And then Friday I got a game. Saturday I'll be doing the Shadow Chat. Sunday hanging out with Connell talking about The Great Silence, one of the best Westerns ever that no one's ever heard of. And then you didn't like it?
It's a bit much.
Okay.
You need to get into They Call Me Trinity.
I mean, it was a good movie. I'm just saying it was a bit much.
Oh, okay. And then not this Sunday, but next Sunday, Little Guy and I are celebrating our 3-year anniversary with a giveaway. We just did a video last night with the rules for the giveaway, giving away some Archon Studio miniatures, as well as potentially some Arduin books. I'm still waiting to hear back from the guys from Emperor's Choice. And then brand new week start Monday. I have no idea what's going on then.
All right. Connell, aside from Sunday, anything you got going on?
Watching his videos so I can find out how I can get into the chance of winning the Trask. Other than saying, "Hey, big brother, my birthday is September." So other than that, just I guess watching Max's show, maybe hopping on. I doubt it. Saturday, there's an off chance that I might be doing a bi-monthly Rift game. I'm not 100% sold. I like 2 of the players, and I really don't like the DM, so I don't know if this is actually going to be a thing.
Yeah, if you don't like the DM, yeah. Oh, hey, Connell, question. What'd you ever do with your last winnings?
I have it in my the village people, YMCA village people are again put together by a buddy of mine when he has the time, because I do not have the patience or the time to cut them out, super glue them together without them looking like what happens when you eat corn and it comes into the toilet. So yeah, I'm having a buddy do that for me. Then I'm going to paint them, and
Lovely.
and the Arwen book, I've read through a couple times. I think I need to get I got the 4th one. I think I need to get the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st one of that to get a little bit more out of it. But yeah, that's what I've done with my winnings. I have a buddy, same buddies actually. When I get done with that village and I get all painted up, I'm going to use them in a campaign that I'm thinking about putting together. And I have a guy who has a 3D printer, who's a friend of mine, that is printing out, keep this to yourselves, is printing out the Ark of the Covenant.
1 for 1?
That's not how that works.
Yes, he totally is.
No, I did that last year. This time it's monsters and a little bit of terrain.
I was thinking about asking for the Holy Grail, but I realized how small that would freaking be for the miniatures. He's like, well, I could print up the Ark of the Covenant. I'm like, sold.
So you're playing Indiana Jones game?
What?
So, my question for Connell is, this person that's building the Ark of the Covenant, would you say that right now you have top men working on it?
Yes, I would say I have top men on it.
I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it.
I like the movie. I'm not necessarily needed to be in it.
Here's the bad thing is that was a joke at a former place that I worked when it says, well, who's working on it? And they go, we have top men working on it. And I go, and one of us would go, top men. Jade, what do you have coming up this week?
Yeah, so tomorrow it was stated that I'm going to be over on Legion of Myth for the Rando RPG show. So go check out Legion of Myth and find out more about running IP like intellectual property content as tabletop role-playing games. So next week, I'm not going to be doing any shows. If I do make any content, it'll be while I'm live from Gen Con. I know there are some people who don't agree with Gen Con or don't like Gen Con for whatever various reasons I'm not going to get into, but it's the vacation spot my wife and I decide to go to every year. So we're going to go there. We're going to play a lot of board games. I'm hoping to get into some Earth Dawn games. Go ahead and drink. Some Palladium or Traveler games, as well as Star Wars West End Games D6 is one of the games I'm actually looking forward to trying out.
You'll buy that game before you leave Indianapolis. I can guarantee
That's
you.
assuming
I was
find a
waiting
copy.
for Bruce to say something.
Yeah,
No,
I requested D6. You know what I'm talking about.
D6. Okay.
I requested D6.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
you're gonna
I can
you're
only
gonna
get so
fall in
many.
love with that game. It's
Okay.
that was what I cut my teeth on. There's people in the chat that remember that game from the 1986, 87 era, and that is why we probably love that IP so much. It's not the movies. It even the Marvel comics, which weren't bad. It's not the comics. It's that RPG with all the source material from D6. Yeah, that right there.
There we go.
That right there's the stuff. That black book he's got there at the very back.
Yes.
You want that, and you want the source book, the original source book for that.
Yes.
Yeah, that is what you want.
Okay.
That version isn't bad. It's just not great. And the Dark Empire source book is just source book material. It gives you all of that.
Awesome.
This one's also a really good book. The Special Forces book, Rules of Engagement.
Yes.
Can I play?
Okay.
Can I play
Well, like I said-
force touch Wookiee? Not Wookiee.
Sure you can.
Force Ewok.
Sure you can. You'll die quickly because everyone will shoot you in the
Yeah,
party.
pretty much.
He's not wrong.
No, but you can
he's not
play a Gamorrean that's got
This is
no,
probably
that's got his
best
voice
book ever
box
written.
replaced.
Best book ever written.
He has his voice box replaced with a little little box here that actually comes out in English instead of the pink sounds.
The entire
So, like I
reason
said,
why
that is my plan for next week is to be on my way to Gen Con on Wednesday, get there Wednesday afternoon. Hopefully this year's a nice, fun year for us. The last few times we've gone, we've actually had quite a bit of fun. And I'm looking forward to trying new RPGs that are not controversially made or have any nonsense or bullshittery tied to them. So that's I'm really looking forward to that.
Frontier game then.
this page right here made me so happy. Order of battle, an actual order of battle. Why? Like,
Okay.
oh, you're playing a little fantasy game? No, let me actually go into detail, telling you what the armored company actually is on the battlefield. None of this make shit up as you go fucking bullshit. No, I want to throw an entire armored regiment, order of battle shit here. This is like fucking real stuff. Like, wow. Oh, you like. It's like if I want to crush you and kill you, and I want to throw an entire armored battle group on you, I can actually plot out its entire vehicle and up to the core and fucking system level. I want to show the true might of the Empire. I can actually do it without being some magical. There's just some stormtroopers. Oh no! There's an entire core on planet. You're fucked. And then I'd be able to
And
go.
not one of them can hit a thing.
Bullshit. We're playing the version that actually has rules of good stormtroopers. And look at that. The Navy actually gets an order of battle too. Why would you want to play any inferior game where you gotta actually guess what the opposition actually has? No, I can actually go out there and say there is currently an interception line in system. And you need to worry about, oh shit, well, wait, if that's part of a squadron, that means it has this line, this line, this line, and where's the Star Destroyer at? And now you're kind of like playing this weird moment of going, when does the rest of the system force show up? And now you're playing this weird game of, oh hell, this isn't just simply I watched some bullshit on a movie and all it is Star Destroyers moving in a big giant line very slowly across space, and it's piloted by a super Star Destroyer in the middle of it. That's the entire Imperial battle group. Oh fuck no. There's corvettes, gunships, there is shit flying around there. There is enough things. I actually crashed the computer modding the hell out of out of Star Wars Rebellion, this ancient ass game, because we wanted to actually recreate an entire actual from the Imperial source book sector battle group of ships. And we conquered the entire galaxy, converted the entire galaxy into support structures, so that way we could supply the fleet. So that way we could just build it. The poor Rebellion was sitting here on one system, this quivering little like headquarters, and we're sitting here going, and my a friend dropped by. He's like, "Have you just tried conquering the galaxy yet?" We're like, "No, we still have like 42 more Star Destroyers to build for the actual battle group, and we're still working on escorts on multiple." And people are like, and our friends are like, "You have overwhelming firepower." We're like, "No, we're nowhere near you. We're nowhere near there yet." And then finally, when it came time, when we had the entire sector battle group built, the entire idea of what 1/1000th of the Imperial battle line looks like, we jumped it in there and watched the computer die because it was trying to render everything. Escorts, fighters, medium capital ships, line warships, the super destroyer that's the battle group centerpiece, and then watch the computer go, "I give up, I crash." And when I'm like, we've done our work. We've shown what death looks like. Good job. And because we did this experiment, we can visualize what, if you are such a complete tool and you bring this much firepower upon your head, it changed our perspective on what the fuck. Oh, we're heroes of the rebellion, and run the fuck away. Run now. Why? You're about to die in a horrible, horrible way. Oh, I'm an excellent ace pilot, until several thousand TIE fighters blot out the sun. And you're like, oh fuck. Oh, fuckity fuck.
It's all right. I'll fight in the shade.
Yeah, and then
So that's what I'm doing next week.
Myself, I've got a continuing series on my YouTube channel, doing a little bit of actual PC gaming on it now. Tomorrow, episode 5 of my Novaland series comes out, and of course we'll have Tablebreakers. Be continuing that, so definitely make sure you check that out. Bruce, what have you got coming up besides Saturday? Your musings with
Saturday is time with Kai, and then on Monday night there will be a discussion with me and Janet for a guy or a girl, a guy, and a movie. We're discussing the film Jeremiah Johnson.
Oh Jesus!
I don't know if anybody here has seen that. I don't know if this is okay. This will be my first time watching it. I'm looking forward to it because I like good cowboys and Western movies. So I'm
Eric Redmond.
We just watched Cutthroat Island earlier this week and talked about it Monday. And there's a lot about that movie is really good. It's just that movie got saddled with so much bad stuff, and then it came out and got bombed. But if it was released today, it would be a hit. But that we're talking about Monday night, Jeremiah Johnson. If you know my Discord, you can swing by there Sunday night. We'll watch it, and I'll put the Discord link in there. But that's the primary things. Don't know what I'm doing tomorrow night. Might watch Max and them. I might do a paint stream afterwards. Oh wait, no, it's Friday night. So at 9 p.m., the shit show starts on Janet's channel.
I need to watch one of the episodes on that one.
The earlier ones with her sister Alexandria and her, those were really there was a lot of family drama, fun family drama, lots of fun. But now we're talking. We've got more like an idea. We talk about articles, and we're discussing something for about maybe 10 to 15 minutes, and then we go to the next topic. But she usually gets a couple articles for me to take a look at, and that's what we do. It's a lot of fun.
All right. Well, everyone, we definitely want to thank you for joining us tonight across all of our platforms. We will look forward to seeing you next week. Minus Jade, because he'll be adventuring in Gen Con. He might show up.
I really hope you have a safe trip over there, Jade.
Yes.
I don't have a problem with Gen Con itself. I like the idea of a gaming convention. That particular one, no, I'm not a fan of it. I don't care. I just, the idea of you getting together with board gamers and having big celebration board game, that's great.
Now, Flady, I will actually comment to that. My grandfather, when he passed away, he was in his 90s. He looked like he was in his 60s. My dad's almost 80, and he looks like he's in his 50s. So it is unfortunately a family trait where we look much younger than what we are. So,
do your family big on getting a self portraits?
yes, the portrait gets older and older every year. I don't understand.
Kind of like the reverse McConaughey thing, right? Okay. That's something that I should also tell you guys, because a lot of you were in my older videos from the 2009, 2010.
Oh yeah.
Flady's going through RPG Grandma. Flady's going through our videos.
Oh God.
And yeah, I can tell where he's been, and he's enjoying the heck out of it. But
has he got to the 3 natural 20s of Mr.
Oh, yeah.
I Can Never Die?
That was a third video I made for the channel. So yeah, he was there quite a while ago.
Oh no, there's a couple videos. There's at least one video on there I think I could. It makes me giggle. I'm still an asshole.
Watch the playlists in order, Flady, and you'll hit it. It's in the Kingmaker series, but I think you'll have some laughs. The Kingmaker series bounces between my apartment, which was very spacious, and a game store, which was spacious but not as spacious. Yeah, like 9 of 35. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
anybody have anything to add before I shut down this?
Yes. One more thing to add really quick. If you really think about it, a piece of bologna is just a hot dog pancake.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
We can add that out in post, right?